the approval of the dissidents of Hong Kong.
Singapore is not the West. One value which does not fit Singapore is the theory that the press is the fourth estate. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down. You see, the whole of my adult life, it was a very peaceful, quiet, orderly place. No demonstrations, no strikes, everybody living a very simple life under the British. And everybody thought they were going to be here for the next 1,000 years. Suddenly the Japanese came in, very cruel people. I did not know that you have to bow deeply. So I just passed him quietly. He called me back. Kneel down. So I knelt down. And he took his boots and did that to me. 日本人教育我，权力是什么意义的？政权可以改变人民的思想、社会的行为。They chose mostly big people, big size, because you're big. Yeah, I was big then. For the Chinese, for a Chinese, I was big at that time. So they said, go there. So I said, I have left my clothes behind. I did not feel good. So they allowed me to go back. So I stayed for 2 days. Second time I went out, they had changed people, and they let me through. Well, I was lucky. I was lucky. Those who went on that lorry were taken to the beach and shot. Would have been me. Yeah. Just like a lottery. What have we done to deserve this? Surely we must be in charge of our own lives. And that is the beginning of politics. The first time I came out of the tube station at Trafalgar Square, I was very impressed. There was a bundle of newspapers for sale and a box. Nobody there. And you can take the newspaper and put your coins in or change notes and take coins. I said, this is really a civilized society. I think first, the shock of a different life. Having to do things for myself and having to meet people whom I don't know and who did not necessarily welcome me, especially in London. I'm a Chinese, they are not Chinese. They think they are superior. I don't think I am inferior, that we leave it like that.
But it changed you a lot. You have another, because of discrimination, you develop your own ideas.
Yes, of course. You have your own pride, 自豪感. That's very necessary. You work on incentives, but then they tax you and then they redistribute. Help you in education, in free health, free spectacles, free dentures. They thought that this would be a humane, a great society. We decided that the British were not superior to us. We can look after ourselves. What they can do, given time, we will do. There is no reason why they should govern us. We can do it, and better. We had no choice. We had no choice. They had captured newspapers, Chinese newspapers, Chinese clan associations. Even the Chamber of Commerce were afraid of them. The schools, the management committees were afraid of them. the Old Boys Association, musical associations, oh, they were everywhere. Well, that is the trouble, you see. We were young and innocent. We did not know how dangerous it was. We thought, no, never mind, we will be able to fight our way out. But you ask me to do it again, I will not do it. It was very dangerous. Could easily have been captured by them, totally.
Merdeka! Lagi sekali yang bersemangat merdeka!
Very few people will believe me. In 1959, when I won the election, I knew we were going to have trouble with the communists. I was quite apprehensive. I was not elated, I was not joyous or joyful because I knew a big fight was coming. They wanted a communist Malaya. We wanted a non-communist Malaya. We could see that Singapore as a small economy, a small island, would have a very tough time to survive on its own. You needed a hinterland. This was the center. So how can we survive without the body?
We let it go on, doesn't do any harm, provided they don't take up stones and sticks and guns. I say rally around and keep these evil forces. You see, they are so ashamed of themselves, they have switched the light off. Look at that. They are cowards, that's what they are. Cowards. They switched the lights off. And believe you me, we are going to win. If they intend to do us in, they must be prepared to kill us. If they try to kill us, then we must fight them. And we will fight them to the death.
When I met the the communist representative in Beijing in 1994, after the battle is over, he told me, I saved your life. So I said, thank you. So he wanted me to let him come back without questioning. I said no. You did your calculations. I did my calculations.
Merdeka Malaysia!
I, Ly Quang Diê, Prime Minister of Singapore, do hereby proclaim and declare on behalf of the people of Singapore that as from today, the 16th of September, 1963, Singapore shall forever be a part of the sovereign, democratic and independent state of Malaysia.
They want a Malay Malaysia, where the Malays are on top, in charge of everything. And you may be allowed to get some business. We wanted gradually, not immediately, a Malaysian Malaysia, where as citizens, we share the burden and the rewards.
A peaceful, happy, prosperous, united Malaysia is only possible if we keep Singapore the center of Malaysia in peace, keep Singapore happy, and make the people feel that they are wanted, not stepchildren or stepbrothers, but one in the family, and a very important member of the family.
Do not expect fundamental issues like what kind of a nation we are wanting to build. Is this a Malaysian nation, and how are we going to get there, to be resolved in 1 hour and 10 minutes? Do you think that that can be resolved in 1 hour and 10 minutes? It took 20 months of Malaysia to bring these issues to the surface, and we can resolve these things in 1 hour and 10 minutes? I mean, this is fantastic.
You see, the whole of my adult life I had believed in Malaysian merger and the unity of these two territories. You know, as a people connected by geography, economics, and ties of kinship, would you mind if we stop for a while?
I am nobody's stooge. I am not here to play somebody else's game. I have a few million people's lives to account for. And Singapore will survive. 没有人有权利过问我们，我们自己决定新加坡的命运。There will be no race riots in Singapore. Never. One Malay woman took her child's hand and waved it like that. And I waved back. And they know that what we say we mean. That this is an equal society.
We had to lock up people without trial, whether they are communists, whether they are language chauvinists or religious extremists. If you don't do that, the country would be in ruins today.
One's got to get over the temptation of the news media capturing one's soul.
One value which does not fit Singapore is the theory that the press is the fourth estate. Because of our volatile racial and religious mix, the American concept of the marketplace of ideas, instead of producing harmonious enlightenment, has from time to time led to riots and bloodshed. Singapore's domestic debate is a matter for Singaporeans. We allow American journalists in Singapore in order to report Singapore to their fellow countrymen. We allow their newspapers to sell in Singapore so that we can know what foreigners are reading about us. But we cannot allow them to assume a role in Singapore that the American media plays in America, that of invigilator, adversary, and inquisitor of the administration.
Why do you have so little faith in the ability of your people, so well educated, to make intelligent judgments on diversity of ideas, on competing news?
I have been in office for now 29 years. I have won 7 general elections since my first in 1959. I think that qualifies me at least to be able to say that I do know Singapore better than the questioner.
To give every family a stake in the country. In other words, that we should find a way to give them ownership of their own home, their own apartments. Then, if their sons have to go to war and fight, they are fighting for themselves.
We never went for the iron rice bowl. Each person has his own porcelain rice bowl, and if you break it, it's your bad luck. And they look after it when it is their own and it's porcelain. Two weeks. It will take many, many months to repair the damage. I gave them a choice. Continue this, and I will by every means at my disposal, teach you and get the people of Singapore, help me teach you a lesson you won't forget. And I'm prepared to start all over again. Or stop it. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down. What are our priorities? First, the welfare, the survival of the people. Then, the democratic norms and processes, which from time to time we have to suspend. I think we would not be here today if we implemented in full the original constitution the British gave us.
What would happen?
Disorder. Disorder. So we had to limit some liberties. Liberty of freedom of assembly. You must have a police permit. You can't keep on agitating and getting people excited. You need a permit to have a publication. So in this way, we were able to gradually get some form of restraint in what you say, what you speak, what you do. The question you ask yourself, and the question which finally decided me, because I had a veto to say no, he will embarrass me, was, am I right in denying him the right to live his life as a citizen and to restrict your choice or postpone it for as long as I'm Prime Minister?
Is an unequal creature. This is a fact. And we start off with a proposition. All great religions, all great movements, all great political ideologies say, let us make the human being as equal as possible. In fact, he is not equal, never will be.
遗传下来的因素是最重要的，那需要想办法鼓励高中、大学的父母负起他们的任务。怎样？我不大清楚。
If I tell Singaporeans we are all equal, regardless of race, language, religion, culture, then they will say, look, I'm doing poorly. You are responsible. But I can show that from British times, certain groups have always done poorly in mathematics and in science. I am not God. I can't change you. But I can encourage you, give you extra teaching, help to make you do, say, maybe 20% better. So as a result, there is a certain realistic assessment of their capabilities and their possible achievement.
I say without the slightest remorse that we wouldn't be here, we would not have made the economic progress if we had not intervened on very personal matters. Who your neighbor is, how you live, the noise you make, how you spit or where you spit, or what language you use. Had we not done that and done it effectively, we would not be here today.
Everybody is free to put up his ideas, but if you put up foolish ideas, it is our duty to demolish that idea by argument before that idea takes hold in the people's minds. It is important when people make a false accusation that diminishes your moral standing, that the allegation be either withdrawn and he apologizes, or you go to court to prove it is untrue.
So people always said that you are using the libel laws to threaten your political rivals.
The same laws apply to me. Nobody has ever sued me for libel because I do not defame my enemies. I ignore polling as a method of government. I think that shows a certain weakness of mind, an inability to chart a course. Whichever way the wind blows, whichever way the media encourages the people to go, you follow. You're not a leader. If you keep on mocking your leader and poking fun at him every day, and he has no right of reply, it is very difficult for him to command your respect. When he went back to America, he was inhaling some drugs. He fought his father and beat up his father. So who was right? Their soft methods or our firmer methods?
To get good government, you must have good men in charge of government. What I have observed in the last 40 years is that even with a weak or poor system of government, but with good, strong men in charge, you get possible government with decent progress. This is not administration doing a job. This is entrepreneurship on the political stage, on a national scale. We changed the complexion of Singapore.
How do you engage young people, the next generation, to come into, to have that political engagement?
That's not for me, that's for my successors. People now in their 40s and 50s. I'm over 80. I leave this to them to decide. They have to decide how they have to rearrange the social compact.
有发展才有进步，经济发展出色比较好，有钱有繁荣，各方面都有进步，人民生活。
跟新加坡不同的是，英国人在香港高高在上，生活显示什么意的这个？
惬意。
惬意。我70岁才学电脑。 你出国的时候，你在家的时候，你要用你的电脑，没有必须一定要自己搞的。
People here clamoring or asking for more participation in this or more democracy, or how do you see that in the development?
They want jobs. If they don't get jobs and they have no income, and they can't feed their families, we have a revolution. It's not democracy. How does voting another man to be the government and he can't produce the jobs, how does that help you?
要脚踏实地，解决问题要找一个实际的、务实的办法，那就是我所要做的事。如果要钱，不要参政。 你一旦给人家收买，就卖出去你的命运，你的政治命运就完了，你的前功尽去。
So if she takes favors, get business from people and do them favors, it will affect me. So she was very careful.
Because even without doing bad things, people say bad things about you. So we have to be careful.
不得已离开，很痛苦， 辜负了很多人，号召他们，动员他们，他们相信我们的话，然后放下他们，不得已做的。
And even from my sick bed, even if you are going to lower me into the grave and I feel that something is going wrong, I'll get up.